Okay, let's move on to item 7.
This is, we talked about, excuse me, presented to you last month that there's planning going on for a European trip. And according to board policy, that's going to require board approval. And so we gave, I believe they gave these to you tonight some additional information. I'm going to turn it over to Sarah and Teresa and let them walk you through. They're the ones who make it for this.
I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Sarah Carlson, and I am a new high school teacher to the district. And by the way,
I can join you.
I don't know if you already knew.
I'm a teacher.
I am very much liking, loving the district and the students, and so thank you for the opportunity to be here.
It's good to hear.
And
I know you're saying that I hate.
Well, I say that I taught for 9 years at a very small school of 85 high school students, where the student-to-teacher ratio was very small. It was a very different kind of environment, and so I knew that there would be some changes, and all of the changes have been good and have been great. So at my last school, I had led 2 European trips, one to Ireland, one to Italy. I had also accompanied students to domestic trips to Washington, D.C. And upon leaving my last school, I had already been in the planning process of a trip back to Italy. Kids already who had made the commitment, and so one of the things that I was hoping that would happen when I came to the school district would be that you would welcome an opportunity for students to travel as well. And extending upon what you talked about, taking kids into the 21st century learning, that is exactly what EF Education wants to do, and I wanted to share this with you. What they did was they commissioned a firm to do a study, and they surveyed thousands of young adults ages of 20 and 21 who had taken a trip as a high schooler, and it kind of confirmed exactly what they had been telling parents and hoping that the success of these students, because they traveled, has affected them personally and professionally, and I wanted to share just a few statistics. The student survey said that they are better at thinking critically and gain global awareness and more confidence in their social skills as a result of their EF experience. Nearly every student surveyed had gone on to earn a BA or higher. About 80% maintain a college grade point average of 3.0, and nearly half earn a GPA between 3.5 and 4.0. More than 80% report becoming better communicators and problem solvers as a result of their international experience. 85% are more interested in studying abroad in college, and about 2/3 were motivated to become more fluent in other languages. And nearly 90% continue to study in a foreign language in college, many choosing to learn a critical language, one for which more trained speakers are needed than are available. So EF has been in business for over 45 years. They are very competitive in the kind of opportunities that they offer, both educationally and financially. If you take a look at the very top page of the handout that you were provided, the tour length of the trip we're looking at is 9 days. 2 of those days are travel days. The first day is a travel day, and the 9th day is a travel day, so it's actually 7 days on tour, 7 days in Italy and Germany. We're looking at approximately the last 9 days of July. We're trying not to take anyone out of softball or baseball, and we're trying not to prevent anyone from beginning the football and volleyball season. Of course, I know that there's fair time. I know there's lots of other things, but there's kind of that small window that we're looking at. The program fee includes the following things that you see here. All the travel, 2 breakfast and dinner a day, breakfast and supper every day. We have a full-time EF tour director that will speak all the languages of every country that we will visit. That person will meet us at the airport when we arrive, and they will not leave us until they drop us off at the airport on day number 9. We also have some sightseeing tours that local guides will take us on. So one of those tours would be, for instance, in Florence. We would have someone that would take us who is from Florence, and I've actually been on that tour before, and it's a really neat experience. Someone who is local. And then there is an optional, which would be going to Pisa to see the not-so-leaning Tower of Pisa these days. The price quote that you see here, there is an enrollment fee of $95. The program fee itself is $2,195. There are departure fees that include fuel charges, surcharges, and things that are not included in the trip price. There is a peace of mind program that would include if a trip we're unable to depart for some reason, whether it's because a number of people in our group are unable to travel. If there is any safety concerns of the place that we are traveling to, that we will be rerouted to another similar location, that we can move our date, or we could opt out of the trip entirely and participants would receive their refund back. That would be if there is a danger or a safety concern. Yes, yes. The price for students is $2,870, and the adult price is a few $100s more. That is based on room situations. They put 3, 4, 5 kids sometimes in rooms depending on where we're at, and adults are placed 2 to a room. So if you've gone anywhere, you know that it's based on occupancy. And I just wanted to mention a few places that we are going to go because this is an educational trip. We are on a agenda. Our schedule begins very early in the morning and we run till very late at night. Some of the places that we will visit include the Sistine Chapel to look at Michelangelo's beautiful paintings. We'll visit the Roman Colosseum, the Pantheon, the Forum Romanum, where Julius Caesar gave many of his speeches. We will also be in Verona, and we'll get to see some sights and tour a few things Romeo and Juliet style. We'll also be in Munich. We will see the Olympic Stadium, and we will have a day of travel touring Dachau that has been made into a museum. So those are just some of the places that we'll see. We also have some fundraisers that are available to us. I've been informed that we have a couple wrestling concession stands for a couple of wrestling meets. Also, there's an opening to do junior varsity, freshman and junior varsity or JV basketball games. I have held an auction, like a household auction type of fundraiser for all the participants, where they bring their household goods and all of the money that everyone, whatever personal items you bring, that would go to that participant, and so we would have our own auction. I have run a fireworks booth for the last 2 years in South Sioux City, Nebraska for 10 days, and in those 2 years we have raised nearly $25,000 selling fireworks. I have given up 10 days with my family and lived in a motorhome 75 miles away from where I live in order for kids and parents to come and work some hours and meet a whole crazy group of people who buy fireworks. We also have some recycling opportunities. You talked about recycling. I have worked with a group who goes to businesses, schools, who use the large printer cartridges, even the small ones, electronic devices like cell phones, digital cameras. We send those in and we are paid. That can equal to, depending on the amount of recyclables we receive, anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 or $5,000 per year, depending on how aggressive and how many communities and how many businesses are willing to give us a call and say that they have some things for us to pick up, and families and things like that. Any questions, Dr. P?
I think, to me, the opportunity that's presented to kids and adults that choose to go on this are pretty obvious. Seeing the world, we talked about global society, they have an opportunity to actually experience it. The pluses are there. What do you see as any potential, what's the potential downside of this?
The potential downside is that the cost is $3,000 just doesn't fall on someone's lap. So it does prevent, a sector of students that would not be able to go. Fundraising, I try to at least, I try to work for at least $1,000 off of the students'
So you keep,
enrollment
not
price.
put words in your mouth, but when you do your fundraising, you keep track of every individual participant.
Every individual,
Where Kevin doesn't want to do anything, I'm going to pay the whole
You don't
price.
get the money
Chuck
for
works
the
his
fundraising,
tail
that's
off,
correct.
he's going to get half of it or whatever.
let's use a pancake breakfast, for example, and we would raise $1,000 and 10 kids would participate in that day. The hours for the participation of the students would be as equally divided as possible in scheduling, and then those students would split that $1,000 equally. If 10 other students did not want to participate, then they just know that they don't get that $10,000, or they don't split that $1,000. And participants know this right up. They do not have to fundraise at all. They can fundraise if they want to do all the fundraisers that are available, or one of them they can't do, but they are available to anyone and everyone that is able to help out.
How many students do you have interested, you know?
There's probably about a dozen. What we actually did was, even though I knew that the trip required board approval, there was an October 31st deadline that the tour price would increase. And I contacted, we had a meeting about a month ago, and I contacted those people that were interested. I have a couple of parents here whose children have enrolled. I told them that per board approval, that the trip is already a go as far as students that I have pre-enrolled from my previous school. I will take the trip regardless. So knowing that we needed board approval for it to be a school-sponsored trip, that was the information, and so there are 6 or 8 kids that have signed up already, not wanting to incur that extra cost. That extra cost, actually, I'm not even sure what it is right now. I come in here with a number, I don't even know what it was. It could have been $25, it could have been $50, but $25 is somebody's spending money for a day on the trip. So every dollar counts when we're talking about this kind of money. So I did not want to allow anyone to miss out on losing out some money. So right now there are, from our school system, 6 or 8 students. And I anticipate that we will have more, as well as some parents who have, who said they'd like to travel.
How many can you take?
I can take 100 if I want to. Do you want to go?
I'd love to go.
What EF tries to do, and this is what they base their cost on, is we do a lot of our travel on a bus, on a motor coach. And they base their numbers on 40 or 50 people on that bus. So that's what their group size is, what they'd like to. Now, if we did have 100 people, we'd have 2 buses that went. But what they will do, they will partner us with other schools, other groups that have similar date ranges, that want to go on a similar trip. And all of my trips, there have been 3 groups of us. So depending on the numbers of people that we have, we can either be with 1 or 2 or other schools or other travelers.